So you eventually ended up as a tag team with Johnny Ace. How did it go from you being Magnum TA's protege to Johnny Ace tag team partner?
There was a point where I was sent home from the NWA, and a week later I was told they were downsizing, didn't have money to send me home. A week later they called me back and said that Brad Armstrong had been fired from the Lightning Express, and they were now going to have me and Tim Horner as the new Lightning Express. I went to Salisbury, Maryland. Tim Horner and I wrestled as the new Lightning Express in Salisbury, Maryland. And the very next day, I get a phone call and said that Brad was back, and they didn't need me anymore. They sent me home. And a few days after that, they brought me back again. And within 6 months, Johnny at that time was when they brought me back, and even before they sent me home, Johnny was there as the flag bearer for the sheep herders. So they told me that Johnny was training to wrestle, and that he was going to be moving into the ring, and then a short time later decided to put us together in the tag team. The ironic thing about the Dynamic Dudes is that we debuted on the Music City Showdown. I think it was called Music City Showdown in Nashville. It was the show where Terry Funk drove Flair through the table. We were the opening match on that pay-per-view versus the Samoan SWAT team with Paul Heyman. And they announced us on air as Johnny and Shane. It was either the Next Generation or the New Generation. And it was so we'd already aired. The next morning we get up to go to the airport. We get in the van with Eddie Gilbert, who was sitting in the front seat, and Johnny and I are in the second seat. And Eddie turned around and he said, "Well, did you hear your new name?" And I'm thinking, well, we've already aired on TV, so how can we have a new name? I said, okay, I'll bite, because Eddie had a bit of a wry sense of humor. I said, I'll bite, Eddie. What's the new name? He said, well, Jim Herd commissioned a study in California with the philosophy that all the hip boards start in California and move eastward. And, the top two words were dynamic and dude. So he put them together and came up with Dynamic Dudes. And I started laughing. That's a good one, Eddie. And I'm laughing out loud, and Eddie stopped with a straight face and turned and looked at me, and I realized that look on his face that he was serious. I said, please tell me you're kidding. You're ribbing. And he went, so they said, no, we were going to Tri-Cities.
So at that point, WCW had been bought, or NWA had been bought by Turner, and it was WCW.
It was now transformed to WCW.
Was correct. Charge, okay.
And it was Bristol. I want to say it was Bristol. It was one of the Tri-Cities in Tennessee. And I went right to Flair that night, who was the chairman of the booking committee. And I said, Rick, I said, can I talk to you? And he was laying upstairs on a couch. And I went into him and I told him, I said, if this is about the name, there's nothing I can do. I said, well, surely you can. You're the chairman of the booking committee. I said, does that not get heat with you? He said, it's a shitty name. There's nothing I can do about it. And I said, and I'm thinking in my head, like, but you're Ric Flair. You're the head of the booking committee. I'm sure if you went to Jim Herd and said this is a bad idea, and he would have nothing to do with it. And so Johnny and I went and did the best we could with it. We thought, well, rather than try to swim upstream, we'll just turn around and swim downstream and see if it works. And we embraced it as much as we could, but it was. It's tough to get something over when a wrestling fan is sitting at home and they see a team getting beat in all the key matches. It doesn't matter if you're going over the enhancement talent, but you're with the Midnight Express and getting beat, and then with this team and getting beat, and then that team and getting beat. It's tough to get you guys over. And Eddie Gilbert, just to show you again how forward-thinking he was, said to us, you guys should turn heel. They should turn you heel and have you slick your hair back and just embrace being dickheads. Fuck you. We love riding our skateboards. That would have gotten a ton of heat, I think. And at that time, they wouldn't do it. It shows you how quickly the business was about to change, though, because from 88, 89 frame that we're talking to 92, 93 frame, when suddenly a blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy could be a heel. But it was Eddie Gilbert and Bill Watts that had first seen, the heels in us, and certainly me.
Did they provide the skateboards, or was that up to you?
What was funny about that was they took us out on a shopping trip, with the Ted Turner cards. We didn't have them, the handlers with us did. So Johnny buzzed me and he said, let's see how serious they are. Let's spend as much money as we want and see if they complain. Because they were telling us they were going to give us a big push, and we were the next Rock and Roll Express and all that. So we went into these skateboard, who knew? These skateboard shops, you can go and spend $100, you can spend $5,000 if you want. They have all these varying levels of things. So we weren't getting 1 or 2 skateboards, we were putting 7 or 8 skateboards up there. And, not 1 or 2 of these cheap things, we were getting 10 of these expensive things and just throwing stuff on the counter. And they just kept charging. And everyone said, no, just less than that, or kept charging. I think by the end of the day, we'd spent over $5,000 each, and never had any blowback. Nobody ever called us and said, you guys spent way too much. So that was all bought from Ted Turner, and they bought that stuff so we could go out and shoot all those different vignettes. Us riding this, the water skis and the motorcycles, and we spent several days going around locations all over Atlanta, Georgia, and just long days, shooting north of the city, south of the city, heart of the city, here, there, from sun up till sundown. So, pretty arduous, but, we were happy. We knew we were starting to get a push. We thought we were starting to get a push, and we're eager to pitch in any way we could on that.